morning everyone and welcome back. My name is Gina. It is a super cold, rainy day today, so I thought what is better than making some fresh bread? So let's get into it. This is my sourdough starter, Martha. I fed her yesterday and she is raised over 50%, so she is ready to bake with. Now, when I first started getting interested into making sourdough and baking bread, I did the first thing any 20-year-old girl would do. I went right to TikTok, and everybody on there has all of this equipment, the bannetons, the special whisks, the scales, and I did not have any of that. So I had no idea where to start. So obviously I bought everything. And now that I've been making bread for a few years, I've realized that you don't need all of that special stuff. So I want to make a super easy, beginner-friendly, no special bread equipment tutorial for everyone at home. So let's do it. Obviously, for making sourdough bread, you do need a sourdough starter. This is mine. I have been nurturing her and loving her for years. I don't have a video of making one, but if you are interested in how to do that, let me know and we can start and do that together. I also have a bowl. I like using a clear bowl just so you can see the progress of your bread and how it bubbles and leavens and all that fun stuff. So start off with our bowl. I have 1 3/4 cup of room temperature water. Next, we will be adding about 1/2 cup of our active sourdough starter. And then no special whisk here. I'm just using a rubber spatula and we are gonna mix this all together to get our sourdough starter dissolved into the water. This video is also specifically for my mom, Faye, because she has been wanting me to make this for forever. And here you go, Mom. Now you finally have your sourdough video at home. I'll get you some starter and you can make your own bread. Now we're gonna add 4 cups of bread flour in 4. And then we're also gonna add a tablespoon of salt. I'm just gonna eyeball mine, not that much. And again, we're just gonna get it all mixed up. And you might be thinking, wow, this looks really dry, Gina. You might need some more water. Don't. It's okay. It's gonna be, we're going for like a shaggy, kind of almost dry looking dough right away. And then we're gonna cover it, let it sit for like an hour and just let the flour rehydrate in the liquid that we have. I don't want it to be too wet and sticky. I'm gonna scrape down my sides. Hopefully the rain outside isn't too loud. Like, it is seriously super rainy and windy this morning. But okay, all of our flour is mixed in. I don't have any like dry patches on the bottom or any big clumps of flour. You can see it's a shaggy dough. It's not all the way like come together, and that is exactly where we want it. So we are going to cover this. I'm gonna just use like a tea towel or something like that. And we're gonna let it rest for an hour and we'll be back. All right, we are back. My dough has been resting for about an hour. You can see a lot of the flour is kind of like rehydrated and absorbed. Now we are gonna get started on our stretch and fold, and that's exactly what it sounds like. I just have some water here because the dough is kind of sticky. I just like to dip my hands in, get them a little wet, and we are going to pick up some of our dough, give it a little stretch, and then fold it over. And we are just gonna go around the bowl and do this 4 times for each kind of side of our bowl. What this does is really, again, incorporate everything and then also stretch some of that gluten and get it all forming into a nice, smooth, cohesive dough. So we're just gonna pick it up and stretch it. Fold it over. We'll cover this back up and we will be back in an hour to do it again. All right, we are back. It's been about another hour or so. I know some people are really say that like your timing is so important, like it has to be exactly an hour between your stretch and folds. I really don't think it's that important. If you wait 30 minutes, that's fine. If you wait 45 to an hour, that's also fine. But we're just doing the same thing again, pulling up our bread, stretching it out and folding it over. See, it's come together a lot more. It's a lot smoother, and that's just exactly what we're going for. All right, last one. I'm just gonna cover it back up and we'll be back again to do our third set of stretch and folds. All right, we are back. It's been about another hour. It is still raining, and we can kind of see here the dough has some bubbles. It's starting to grow and do its thing a little bit. So we are gonna do some more stretch and folds. And you can see it's stretching really nicely. It's nice and smooth. And just fold it over. It's also not as sticky now. You can see I'm not even like wetting my fingers, and it's not sticking to it anymore. I'm also gonna do some what are called coil folds. This just kind of helps begin the shaping process. So you're gonna take your dough, pick it up on each side in the middle, let it kind of stretch down, and then those pieces are gonna fold underneath. So again, we're gonna grab here, and this front and back are gonna fold underneath, and this is just gonna help shape the dough, get it nice and smooth, while still also providing that stretch. You can see there we have some nice bubbles forming. And don't be afraid to like really handle your dough and stretch it and move it. I'm gonna say that's good for now. I'm gonna cover it. We'll come back in about another hour or so for our last set of stretch and folds. All right, we are on to our last set of stretch and folds. I know this kind of seems like a long process, but like I said earlier, it's okay if you don't do them like 4 sets exactly an hour apart. If you only get to 3, that's fine. You can just do whatever you want. It's okay. So for the last set, I'm gonna do some more coil folds. So I'm gonna pick it up in the middle, pull, and then fold that under. Turn it, pick it up in the middle, pull it up, stretch it, and fold it under. And I'm just gonna do this a couple more times to get it nice and shaped and really stretch it out and get them folded. Now that our last set of stretch and folds is done, we are at the point called bulk fermentation. So basically we are just going to leave the dough alone for a few hours, and we are just letting the natural yeast in there from the starter just rise and do its thing. So this is probably the most confusing part for people while they are on their sourdough journey, and that is because it is so dependent on environmental factors. So if your house is really warm, it's going to be a lot faster than if your house is really cold, and it'll slow down the process. The best tip is just watching your dough. You'll notice it starts to rise to about double what it looks like right now. I like using the clear bowl again so you can see a lot of the bubbles. We're looking for some nice big bubbles. Another thing you do not need, but I have, is these like plastic shower caps. I like to put these on here just so my dough doesn't dry out. and then I put the tea towel over it to also provide some heat, so hopefully it doesn't take as long. All right, I will keep you guys updated along the bulk fermentation process and let you know how long it takes, and I will also show you the signs that we're looking for to let you know that it's done. Another tip, if your house is really cold and you want to speed up the process a little bit, put it somewhere nice and warm. I've done it in the oven before with just the light on. Don't actually turn your oven on, you will wreck it. Just the light to provide a little bit of that extra heat source. All right, my dough is looking beautiful. As you can see, we've got some nice bubbles. We've risen. It's nice and jiggly, and it's not super sticky when I touch it. So these are all signs that my bulk fermentation is done. This took my dough around 4 hours, and I had it in the oven with the light on to keep it a little warm. So next steps, we are going to shape it and then put it in the fridge to do our overnight refrigeration. So for this next part, the cold proofing, you've probably seen a lot of people do that in these Banneton baskets. This one's kind of like a wicker material, I'm not sure. Or other ones that I have are these silicone ones. Personally, I've been using these silicone ones a lot because they're super easy to clean. I really like those. But for the sake of this video, we are using no special equipment, everything you already have in your house. So I am just using a plain old bowl and a tea towel. And this will be what we cold proof our bread in. All right, so for the shaping process, I'm just gonna dust my table with some flour. And then dump out my bread. Just kind of gently releasing it from the sides. There we go. All right, just going to take it and kind of flatten it out into one sheet. And then next we are just going to take our side here and fold it in towards the middle. And do the same thing to this one, just fold it right over. And then we're just gonna kind of roll it up. So just tugging, rolling it up, kind of working those sides in. Good pull. All right, you can still see it's a little loose. It hasn't taken a really nice shape yet. So I'm gonna add a little bit of another dusting of flour. And we are gonna do what is called push and pulls. So you're gonna take your dough, we're gonna push it, and then pull it, kind of tucking under to help it form a nice circle and create some really nice surface tension here. So again, we're gonna push it forward and pull, tucking that back. And kind of rotating it so we get that really nice circular shape. All right, our shaping is done. Our dough ball looks great. I'm just gonna add a little bit of flour to that tea towel I have in the bowl, along with some on top of my dough. And then we're just gonna take our little dough ball, scoop it up, and plop it right in the bowl. And you can kind of pinch the bottom together if you see it opening a little bit. All right, next, just gonna throw a little bit more flour on top. And then that little plastic cover, that is going right back on to keep that moisture in so it doesn't dry out. And then this is literally just going in the fridge. Most of the proofing and fermenting is done. The going in the fridge part is just to help you really develop that classic sourdough taste. So this can be in the fridge for just a couple hours, an hour or two, or you can leave it overnight is what I typically do. Or if you really want, you can leave it in the fridge for a day or two, just making sure it doesn't dry out. But I'm gonna leave mine in the fridge overnight, and then we'll be back in the morning to bake it. Good morning, it is the next day. I just pulled my bread out of the fridge. It has been in there for definitely 12 hours, maybe like 18 to 20, but honestly, that's okay. The longer it's in the fridge, it's just gonna have more of that fermented sourdough taste. I have my Dutch oven in the oven heating up to 450. So for baking the bread, I have a Dutch oven. I had one before I started baking, so that's kind of why I'm using it today. But you can use a Dutch oven, any oven-safe pot with a lid, or you can even use 2 cookie sheets and just put 1 cookie sheet with your dough on a rack, and then above that put an empty cookie sheet that's kind of acting like a lid. But I'm so excited, so let's open up this bread. I know a lot of people like to and say that you have to like bake your Dutch oven at 450 for 30 minutes before you even do that. I think that that's quite unnecessary. I only have my Dutch oven in the actual oven heating up while my oven is preheating. So I put it in there, I turn the oven on, I preheat it, and once it's done, I put my bread in. I don't want to sit there and bake for 30 minutes. I just think that's a bit of a waste, if you ask me, of time and electricity on my power bill. And we'll get a nice big sheet of parchment. I am gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour onto the bread here. Hopefully it doesn't stick. And this is how I like to lay it out. I take my parchment paper into the bowl. And then I do this. Like that. Alright, she looks good. Alright, if you wanted to now, you could score it. I just have like a regular knife. You can score it. I'm gonna do what's called the 6-minute score. So I put it in the oven, I let it bake for like 6 to 7 minutes, pull it out, and then I score it. Just helps get a little bit cleaner lines, but do whatever you like. If you want to do it right now, literally, I don't do anything fancy with my scores. Some people are really good at like designs and flowers and stuff. I literally just put a line right down the middle and call it good. So we'll do that in a second. All right, I just took my Dutch oven out of the oven. It's very hot. I'm gonna add in the bread. And this is going back into the oven. I'm gonna pull it out after 6 minutes to score it quick, but otherwise it'll be in there covered for 30 minutes. Did you know it's All right, so the bread has been in the oven for about a total of 30 minutes covered. I did pull it out after that 6 minutes initial mark and then scored it, put it back in covered, and now I'm gonna take the cover off. And now it's gonna go back in for another 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, my timer just went off. We are gonna pull the bread out. I'm so excited. It looks so beautiful. Right, I just pulled it out. We are gonna get the bread onto a wire rack so it can cool. And I'm gonna try to carefully pull off the parchment paper so it can cool all around. It seriously looks so good. I'm going to let it sit on this wire rack and cool. It needs to cool for at least an hour before we cut into it, because if we cut into it now, the inside might not be all the way fully cooked, and then you're gonna get like that really gummy, kind of soggy, icky texture in the middle. So we wanna let it cool all the way before we cut into it. All right, our bread has been resting and cooling for well over an hour, so it is time to cut it in half and see what our crumb looks like. All right, ready? That is beautiful. Oh my god. Alright you guys, that is my finished video for my very beginner friendly, easy sourdough bread tutorial. If you're still here, thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, reach out in the comments, let me know. I would love to answer them. And if you decide to make your own bread, please share it with me. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye!